Hi friends, I'm Parvez from geekschoolers.com. In this video, we're going to start our object-oriented programming journey. So as you know, Python is an object-oriented programming language. It means that we can solve a problem in Python language by creating classes and objects in our program. So we can say that object-oriented programming is a computer programming model that arranges software design with data or objects rather than functions. Now, there are different concepts that you should know in object-oriented programming, like creating classes, creating objects, and there are some object-oriented principles like inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, and encapsulation. So particularly in this video, we want to learn that how you can create classes and how you can instantiate a class in Python. So first of all, what is a class? Now, a class is a blueprint for the objects, or we can say that a class is a way of organizing information about a type of data. So by creating a class, we can reuse elements when making multiple instances of that data type. For example, we create a class car. Now, if we want to create the instances of this car class, now it may be a BMW car or Ferrari car or another type of the car. Now the car class would allow you to store similar information that is unique to each car. Now there may be different models and maybe different colors and etc. So now let's create our first class in Python. So for creating of the class in the Python, you can just use class keyword. And after that, you need to add your class name. So for example, class name. And this is the body of the class. And in here, you can add your variables, behaviors, attributes, and functions. So now, right now, we are not going to add any attributes and also behaviors in here. So for the attributes, we can call it variables, and for the behaviors, we can call it functions or methods. Now we can just pause this class, and we want to just skip this class. Okay, now if I run this right now, so you can see that there is nothing in the console, because when you create your classes, after that we need to instantiate the object of the class. So for example, let me just now creating of instance of class is simple. You can just give the name of the class followed by a pair of parentheses. So for example, in here, this is the I have given A, for example, it's the object name, and after that you can just give the class name. For example, this is my class name, like this. And for example, let me just create another one in here, class name. Okay, now if I print this A and also print B, now if I run this, you can see that I am receiving class name object and at this memory address, and this is another memory address for the second object. Now you can see that these are different numbers in here. Okay, now let's learn that how you can add attributes in your classes. So let me just create a class. I'm going to just call it class person. Right now, we are not going to do anything in the class body itself. We want to add some attributes to created object of the class. So in here, I'm going to just skip this class and I want to just say pause. Now I want to create the object, or I'm going to just create the instance of this class. So I'm going to just say p1 person and p2 person. So in here you can see that we are instantiating the class and we are creating two objects in here. So now we can assign some attributes to these instances. So we can just say p1.name, and for example, I'm going to just add my name in here, and we can say p1.age, and you can add age in here. And for the P2 I want to add a name, so Geeks Coders, and we can just add an age also in here, so for example 20. Now we can print our data, so print p1 dot name and p1 dot age, and we can do this for the p2, so dot name and p2 dot age. So now if I run this, you can see that I am receiving my data in here. So now let's talk about the initializer method in Python. So most object-oriented programming language have the concept of constructor. Now it is a special method that creates and initializes the object when it's created. Now in Python we have initializer method. So this is a special method and it's called when an object is created from a class, and it allows the class to initialize the attributes of the class. So now let me just create an example and you'll know what I mean. So in here I'm going to just create a new Python file and PyCharm ID. So class example 2. So now in here I'm going to create a class person. So I want to create the same class in here. And we can just use init. This is the initializer method in Python, and so the self is the instance of this class. So self, it means the instance of this class. Now in here we can add our name and also age. Now we can just say self.name is name and self.age is age. Okay, so if you remember in we have created this example, so you can see that we have name in here, we have age in here, this is for the P2, and we have printed in here. So now we can see that these are a lot of codes in here. Now using initializer method we can easily do this. So we can just, now if I create my so if I instantiate this class, so we can just say p1 person, and in here, so you can see that if I create person and I need to just add my name and also the age, and for the P2 I'm going to create person and I can add John and 20. So now I can easily print this, so print p1 dot name and print p1 dot age, and also you can do this for the second one, so print p2 dot name and also p2 dot age. So now if I run this code, you will see that this initializer method assigns this name and age automatically to this objects of this class. So now if I run this, you can see that I am receiving, so this is the name, this is the age, and this is the name, and this is the age. Alright guys, now let's talk about Python object attributes. Now Python object has two types of attributes. We have class attributes and we have instance attributes. So first let's talk about the instance attribute, because we have saw some examples on instance attribute. So an instance attribute is a Python variable belonging to only one object. Now this variable is only accessible in the scope of this object, and it is defined inside the init method. So now if you see in this example, these are called instance attribute because it is unique to each object. Now for example, if you see in here, we have name and we have age. Now this name and this age is unique to this p1 object, and we have this name and we have this age. So this name and this age is unique to this object. So an instance attribute is belonging to only one object and it is unique. So, and we can add this inside the init method. Now, what is a class attribute? Now, a class attribute is a Python variable that is owned by a class rather than a particular object. And it is shared between all the objects of the class. Also, it's defined outside the init method. So for example, in here I can create a class attribute. So we can just say, for example, email, and we can add an email address in here. So now this class attribute belongs to this class. It's not specific to any object. It's just related to this class person. Now in here, if I say, for example, print p1 dot name, dot email, and print p2 dot email. Now if I run this, so you can see that I am receiving the email in both objects. So now what are the difference between class attribute and also instance attribute? So the difference between class and instance attribute is this, that class attribute is shared by all instances. So now if you see, we have email. Now this email is shared by all instances of the class, so with the p1 and also p2. And when you change the value of the class attribute, it will affect all instances that share the same exact value. Now if I change the value of this class attribute, for example, let me just say updated at gmail.com. So when you change the value, it will affect all instances that share the same exact value. Now if I run this, you can see that this value is changed in the first instance of the class, and also this is changed in this instance of the class. It's changed in the p1 and also in the p2. Now the attribute of an instance, on the other hand, is unique to that instance. So if you see in here, this is unique to p1, and if we change this, there is no effect on the p2. If we change this age, there is no effect on the p2. So now take a note that class attributes are shared between, it's belong to a class, and can be shared by all instances. And when you change the value of the class attribute, it will affect all instances that share the same exact value. And on the other hand, the instance attribute, it is unique to the specific instance. So like this, for example, this name is unique for this p1, and also this age is unique for this p1. So like this, you can work with the class and also instance attributes. Alright guys, now let's talk that how you can add methods in a class. So for example, I have a class person, and let me just create my init method in here. So we have name, we have age, and we have email. Now we can say self.name is name, and self.age is age, and self.email is email. Now I can add my method in this class, so we can just use so diff, and I'm going to just say print info, and we can just say print. So my name is, we can add the name in here, so we need to just use self.name because we are inside the class, and this is the instance of the class, so we can just say self.name, and my age is self.age, and my email is self.email. Now let me just create the instance of this class. So you can just say p1 person, and now we can add our name. You can add the age, and you can add the email address, and we can now we can use the instance of the class, and we can call this print info. So we can just say p1.print info. Now if I run this, you can see that we are receiving the result in here. So like this you can work with the classes in Python. If you have any question, please let me know, and for the source codes you can just check my website geekscholars.com. Hi friends, I'm Parvez from geekscholars.com. In this video we're going to talk about class variables and also instance variables, or we can say class attributes and instance attributes. So first of all, let's talk about class attributes. Now a class attribute is a Python variable that is owned by a class rather than a particular object. It is shared between all the objects of this class, and it is defined outside the initializer method of the class. And an instance attribute is a Python variable belonging to only one object, and this variable is only accessible in the scope of this object, and it is defined inside the init method. Also, instance attributes are unique to each object. Now first let me just create an example and you will know that what I mean. For example, I have a class person in here, so let me just create my class. So this is my class person, and this is my initializer method in here, or we can say this is our constructor. Now in here I'm going to create some attributes, for example name and also age. So let me initialize this attribute, so self.name name and self.age age. Okay, now let's create the object of this class, or instantiate this class. So in here I'm going to create p1 and person. You need to give, for example, the name, so Geek Scholars, and also you can give an age, for example 20. Now we can print this, so print p1 dot name and print p2 dot name dot age, sorry, p1 dot age. Okay, now let me just create p2, so person, and let me give my name and also the age, and now we can print this, so print p2 dot name and print p2 dot age. So now if I run this, so you can see that this is the name and this is the age, this is the name and this is the age. Now in here, if you see in this section, we have name, we have age. Now these two attributes are called instance attribute because it is inside the init method, and these are unique. So for example, if you see in here, so this attribute is unique to the p1, and also, for example, name is unique for the p1 object, and also age is unique for the p1 object. And in here we can see that this name is unique to p2 object, and also this age is unique to the p2 object. So we have said that instance attribute is Python variable belonging to only one object. Now this belongs to just one object, and also it is defined inside the init method. If you see, now you can see that we have our name and we have our age inside the init method. Now this is called instance attribute, and it is unique to each object. So this is unique to this object, and this is unique to this object. Now let's create class attribute. For example, in here I'm going to create as I have already said, that a class attribute is a Python variable that is owned by a class rather than a particular object. Now, for example, in here I'm going to create an email, so per@gmail.com. Now this is called class attribute because it belongs to a class. So now this email belongs to person class and it's owned by the person class. Now this email is shared between all the objects of this class. So this email can be shared with this p1, can be shared with this p2, with all objects of this class. So let me show you, for example, in here we can say print p1.email, and we can do the same for the p2, so p2.email. And if I run this, so you can see that I'm receiving the email for the p1 object, and also for the p2 object I'm receiving the same email. Now it means that it's shared, the class attribute is shared between all the objects of that class, and it should be defined outside the initializer method of the class. So now, what are the difference between the class attributes and instance attributes? Now, so now the main difference is this, that instance attributes are unique to each object. Now, as I have already said, this email and this age is unique to the p1 object, and in here this name and this age is unique to the p2 object. But in class attribute it's not unique. So if you change the class attribute, it will affect all instances of the class. So for example, if I change this class attribute to, for example, another email address, and now if I run this, you can see that it's changed across all the objects. So it's changed for the p1 object and it's changed for the p2 object. So thank you guys. If you have any question, please let me know, and for the further videos, subscribe to my channel, like and share the video. Hi friends, I'm Parvez, and in this video we're going to talk about class inheritance. So first of all, class inheritance is one of the most important concepts in object-oriented programming. Basically, a class inheritance allows us to create a relationship between two or more classes. Now, in object-oriented programming, one class can extend attributes and methods from another class. Now, if you see in here, we have a class A and we have class B. So if you see in the class A, I have f name and also I have l name. Also, I have a method of def full name, that this method will print the f name and also last name. So I have another class, that's class B. Now this class B extends from class A. Now I'm not going to add anything in the class B. In this case, this class B, we have this class B. Now this class B can access to all attributes and methods of the class A. For example, our class B can access to f name, can access to l name, and also can access to full name method. Now there are some concepts that we should know. Now for the main class that we have, for example, in here we have class A. It's called the base class. We can call it parent class, we can call it superclass. And the class that is extending or inheriting, so for example in here we have class B. For this we can call it derived class, child class, or subclass. Alright guys, now let's create a practical example on class inheritance. So for example, I have class person. Let me create my initializer method in here, and I'm going to create name and also age attributes in here. So name and age. Now I'm going to just initialize this, so self.name and self.age. Also I have a method of for example full info. and in here I want to just print the name and also age, so I can just say print. So I can say name is self.name, and so let me just make this email so it will be good. Then age, so I have email and also like this. Okay, self.name and also and email is self.email. So this is my class. I have just class person, I have my initializer method, and I have some attributes of name and email, and I have initialized the variables or attributes, and in here I have a method of full info. It will print my name and also email address. Now I have another class. So this is my base class, class person. So I want to create another class. I'm going to just call it class student. Now this class extends from the person class, so you can write person, and I'm not going to add anything in this class. Now if you see, now let me create the object of this student class. So student, and now because we're extending from the person class, and if you see in the person class we have name and we have email, also we have a full info method. Now this class student can access to this name, to this email, and also to this full info, because we are extending from the class person. Right now you can see that we don't have any name attribute in our class student, or we don't have any email in our class student. Even we don't have this method in here, but this student class can access to all of these attributes and methods of the base class. So this is our child or derived class, and this is our base or parent class. Now in here you can see that now it's expecting email and also name parameters. So for example, for the name I'm going to just give it and for the email also you can give it an email address in here like this. And now if I print st, now I can print this, so I can print the method. So because you can see that I have full info. Now using this full info method we can print our name and also email address. Now in here I can just say st dot, you need to call your full info. Now if I run this, you can see that this is the name and this is the email address. And if you see, we don't have the full info or name or email in our student class. If I remove this, for example, person, and you can see that we are receiving error, and if I run this, you can see that it's telling me that student takes no argument, because now we have just a student in here. If I again extends from the person class, and you will see that I don't have any error in here, and I'm printing the information. And also there are different type of class inheritance in Python. We have multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, hybrid inheritance. So we'll talk about these inheritance in the further videos, but right now we have just learned about the class inheritance in Python. If you have any question, please let me know. Also you can check my website geekscoders.com for the source codes and also video tutorials. Subscribe to my channel, like the video, and also share the video. Hi friends, I'm Parvez from geekscoders.com. In this video we're going to learn that how we can use super function in Python. So using super function we can access to the methods and properties of the parent class or base class. Basically a super function returns a proxy object. Now let's create a practical example and you'll know that what I mean. For example, I'm going to create a class person, Now in here I'm going to create my init method, and I want to just print this as person base class from base class. I have another class. I'm going to just call it class student. Now this class student extends from the person class, and in here I'm going to call my init method, and I want to just print this is student derived class. So now if I create the object of my student class in here, and let me just create student, and now if I run this, you can see that it's calling me this is student derived class. Now you'll expect that it print this is a person from the base class, but you can see that it's printing the init method from the derived class. And if I run this, you can see that this is a student derived class. Now, as I've already said, that using super function we can access to the methods and the properties of the parent class. For example, if you want to access the init method of this class person, then you can use the super function in here. So you can do it in here, or you can do it in here. So first let me just do it in here. So super, now you don't need to pass these parameters in here. Let me just remove this. You can just call super.init. Now it will first print this is a student derived class, and after that it will print the init method of our base class. So now if I run this, you can see this is student derived class and this is person base class. Now if I bring this in here, let me just bring it in here. So in here it will first call my init method from the base class person, and after that it will print call the init method of the derived class. So now if I run this, you can see now we have this is person from the base class, and after that we have this as a student derived class. So now let's create another example, and I'm going to create a new Python file. Let me call it superfunc2. Okay, now let's just create our class person again in here. So class person, and I'm going to create my init method. So in here I need to add some attributes, so name and also age. Let me initialize this. So self.name name, self.age age. Now I have another class. I'm going to just call it class student. Now this class extends from the person class. So in this person class, I'm going to just create my init initializer method in here, and in here I need to add my name, age. Also I want to add an email attribute for the student class email. So you can see that we don't have email in here, but I want to add this for the student class. So now in here we need to just call our super. We need to write our super function in here, .init, and we can add our name and also age. So in here we are going to call, or we are going to access the name and age of our base class using the super function. And also we have self.email, so this is related to the student class. Now if I create the object of this student class, let me just create st and student. So we can add a name in here, we need to add age and also an email address. Now I can print, so print st.name, print st.age, age and print st.email. So now if I run this, you can see that name, age, and also email address. Now in this code, if you see in this code, this person is a super or parent class, or we can say that it's a base class, while the student is a derived or child class. You can see that my student class extending from the person class, so it is a child class. Now the usage of the super function allows the child class to access the parent class and its property. So using this super function, we can access the child class init property. So if you see in the init, we have name and age, and using this super, we can access that. So like this, you can work with the super function in Python. So if you have any question, please let me know. Also, you can check my website, geekscoders.com. Hi friends, I'm Parvez from geekscoders.com, and in this video we're going to learn about method overriding in Python programming language. Now by using method overriding, we can change the implementation of a method provided by one of its base class. Now let's create our example and you will know that what I mean. For example, I have a class person in here. Now in this class person, I have a method or function of print name. And it's just printing, for example, print my name is, so whatever you want, you can just add. Now I have another class student. So class student. Now this class student extends from the person class, and I want to add the same method of div print name in here, and I'm going to just, and here I'm going to just write my name is, for example, John. So in here you can see that I have overridden the method. Now if I create the object of my person, so let me just say p person, and now I can call this div dot print name, p dot print name, and if I run this, you can see that I am receiving my base class print. So its print name is related to base class, and if I create the object of the student class, I should receive this print name from the student or derived class. Now I can just create st, and I can say student, and now if I say st.print name, and if I run this, so you can see that my name is John. This is from the derived class, and this is from our base class. So like this, you can use method of overriding in Python programming language. If you have any question, please let me know, and also for more information, you can just check my website, geekscoders.com. Hi friends, I'm Parvez from geekscoders.com. In this video, we're going to talk about Python multiple inheritance. So if a class extends from more than one class, that's called multiple inheritance. Now in this example, you can see that I have class A and class B. Now these two are my base classes. I have another class that's called class C. Now this class C extends from the class A and also class B, and this class is our derived class. Now, as I have already said that in multiple inheritance, we can extend from more than one class. And now you can see that in here we have class C, and it's extending from the class A and class B. So these two are our base classes. And in here we have just one derived classes. Okay, now let's create a practical example. So in here I have a class A, and in this class A, I'm going to create a method. So for example, a method, I'm going to just call it, and I want to just print a method from class A. I have another method of class B, and I have diff B method, and I can just print B method from class B. Now these are my two base classes. I have another class, class C. Now this class extends from the two base classes, class A and class B. I'm not going to add anything in this class. I want to just pause this class. So in here, if I create the object of my C class, so C, and if I say C dot, you can see that it can access to A and also B methods. Now I can access to A method and C dot, you can see, so this is my A and this is my B. Now if I run this, you can see that A method from class A and we have B method from class B. Now let me just describe this code again. I have two base classes, class A and class B. Now in the class A, I have a method of it's a method for printing, and also the same I have in the class B. Now I want to use multiple inheritance, and I want to extend from these two classes, from class A and class B. Now in this example, we will have two base classes, that's class A and class B. This is our derived class. We have we have A and B. It's extending from the A class and also B class, and these two are our parent class or base class. Now sometimes you need to, for example, overwrite a method in multiple inheritance. Now let me just show you an example. Let me just create a multiple inheritance, for example. Now I want to just use the same example. For example, I have class A, and in the class A I have full name, and I want to just print that this is my full name and it is belonging to class A. I have class B, so I have the same full name in this class B, and in here I'm going to just print this is my full name and it should be class B. So now let me create another class, so that is class C, and I want to use multiple inheritance. So class C, this class is extending from class A and B, and I want to just pause this. Now we are going to talk, so now let me just create my C object, and if I see C dot full name, now if I run this, let me just first run this. You can see that it is calling the A class method. So you can see that it's calling the A class full name. Now in here we have a concept of method resolution order. Now it will first check the C class for finding the full name method, so this method. If it doesn't find this full name method in the C class, it will log for the A class. So if I change this, for example, if I make this B and also make this C, now you can see it will print the full name from the B class, not the A class. So if I run this, so sorry, so we don't have C, sorry, we have B and A, like this. Now if I run this, you will see that it will call the full name method from the B class, not A class. So you can see this is my full name, class B. Now if I create the same method in class C. So this is class C. Remove this pass. Now if I run this, you will see that it will first check for the C class, and if it finds the full name method, it will print this. So in this case, it will print this is my full name and class C. So you can see this is full name class C. So thank you guys. If you have any question, please let me know. Also, you can check my website geekscoders.com.
Hi friends, I'm Parvez from Geekscoders. In this video we're going to talk about Python multi-level inheritance. So in the previous video we have learned that how you can create multiple inheritance. Now in this video we want to learn creating of multi-level inheritance in Python. So first of all, what is multi-level inheritance? Now in object-oriented programming, when you inherit a derived class from another derived class, this is called multi-level inheritance, and it can be done at any depth. So for example, in here you can see we have three classes. We have class A, class B, and class C. Now the class A is our base class, it's our parent class. Now we have class B. This class extends from class A. Now this class is called derived from base class. So you can see that we are deriving from a base class in here. We have another class that's called class C. Now class C is extending from class B, and we can call the derived from derived class. This class C is extending from a derived class, but our class B is extending from a base class. So this is called multi-level inheritance. Now let's create our practical example. Okay, now let me create my class. So I'm going to create a class person. So in this class I have a method, and I'm going to just call it, for example, person method, and I want to just print that I'm a person. Now we have another class. This is called class student. Okay, now this class extends from the person class, and we are going to just write person, and we want to just create a method of def student method, and we want to print I am a student. Now we have another class, so I'm going to call it class programmer, and this class extends from the student class. And in here I'm going to just create a pro method, and I can print I am a programmer. Okay, now if you see in this example, we have created a multi-level inheritance because we have a base class person. After that we have another class that is a student. Now this class student is extending from the person class. After that we have another class programmer. Now this programmer class is extending from the student class. So now if I create the object of my programmer class, so now let me just create. So first let me just remove this method. Let me remove it, and I'm going to just pause this. So in here I'm going to create the instance of my programmer class, so programmer. And now if I say pro dot, you can see that this programmer class can access to the student method, to the method of the student class, and also to the method of the person class. So we can just say student method, and we can just say pro dot person method. So if you see, we have the per method and in the person class, and this is the method for the student class. And after extending of the programmer, now it can access to the methods of the base class and also the derived class. So now if I run this, now you can see that I'm a student and I'm a person. Now, as I've already said that you can create multi-level inheritance at any depth that you want. For example, in here I'm going to create another class. I'm going to just call it class D. Now this class D extends from the programmer class. Let me just pause this class, and in here I'm going to create my method, so div pro method. And now I can print I am a programmer. Now if I create the instance of the D class, so dd, and now this D class can access to the pro method, student method, and also person method. So now let me just show you. So you can see D dot, so student method, D dot person method, and D dot pro method. So if I run this, you can see that these are the output that we are receiving. So like this, you can work with multi-level inheritance in Python. If you have any question, please let me know. And for more information, you can check my website, geekscoders.com. Hi friends, I'm Parvez, and in this video we're going to talk about hierarchical inheritance in Python. So now in Python object-oriented programming, when more than one derived classes are created from a single base class, that's called hierarchical inheritance. So if you see in here, we have class A. So this is our base class, and we have just one base class in here. After that, we have another class, that's class B. Now this class B is extending from class A, and it is our derived class from class A. We have another class that's called class C. This class is also extending from class A, and we have another class that's class D. This class is also inheriting from class A. Now, as we have already said that more than one derived classes are created from a single base class, that's called a hierarchical inheritance. If you see in here, we have a single base class and we have three derived classes from just one base class, one single base class. Now, if you see, there is a relationship between our class A and class B. There is a relationship between class A and class C, and also a relationship between class A and class D. But there is no relationship between class B and class C, or class C and class D. So we don't have any relationship between the derived classes, but there is a relationship between the base class and also derived classes. Now let's create an example. Okay, I'm going to create a class animal. So in this class, I'm going to just create a method of diff_run, and I want to let me just give a name in here, and I can just say self.name, and now I can print this name. So if we're using if string, so self.name is running. Now we have another class, so class dog, and this class is extending from the animal class, and we are going to just pass this class. We have another class, this is called class cat, and this class cat is also inheriting from the animal class. Now you can see in this example we have hierarchical inheritance. So because we have two derived classes from just one base class, and in this case we have hierarchical inheritance. Now I can create the object for example, if you want to create, you can just create for the dog. And now if I say dog, so d dot run, so you can see we can access to the run method. And you can just say dog, and if you run this, you can see dog is running, and you can create cat, So cat, and also we can access to the cat, so c dot run, and we can say cat, and now you can see that it's telling cat is running. Now, as I have already said, that in hierarchical inheritance there is no relationship between the derived classes. There, as we have saw, that there is a relationship between animal and dog class, and also between animal and cat class, but there is no relationship between dog and cat class. Now let me just show you this by creating another example. So let me just use this example. In the dog, I'm going to create a new method in here. I'm going to just say diff jumping, and I can say dog is jumping. Okay, now so I can access to this jumping method from the D class, so I can just say D dot. You can see we have jumping in here, but if I want to access this jumping from the cat class, I cannot do this because there is no relationship between the derived classes and the hierarchical inheritance. If I say C dot, you can see that we don't have the jumping in here. So like this you can work with hierarchical inheritance in Python. If you have any question, please let me know. And also, if you want more information, you can just check my website, geekscoders.com.